Okay, welcome to day one of my 10-day countdown towards the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7 premiere, obviously the final season as well. I wanted to kind of celebrate the show because it's one of my absolute favourites, as I'm sure you're aware if you've watched basically any videos on my channel. I mention it a lot, but since we're approaching the final season, I know I wanted to do like some things outside of just reactions to like celebrate the show. And thus, here we are. So yeah, for the next 10 days, obviously from today leading to the day before the show returns for its final season, it's going to be like a different kind of series of videos. That, for some days it might be like quizzes, like top 10s, like personal kind of essays and accounts, and lots of different kind of videos covering a whole spectrum of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, and just, yeah, it's a way of celebrating one of my absolute favourite shows that it's very sad, very bittersweet knowing that it's coming to an end very soon, but for now, before that pain and torment of Season 7 will bring us, I thought let's do something a bit more lighthearted and positive and actually celebrate the show as we kind of approach the end. So yeah, this is going to be day one, and I thought before we get into more specific things about maybe like Season 7 in general, which will be coming later on in this countdown series, I thought let's just go the wider spectrum and just talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as a whole, something that involves myself, my opinions, and also you guys who watch my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reactions and who are Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans yourselves. So I thought we'd just start off with like a general kind of Q&A. So thank you to everyone who sent in some questions on my community post. So this is every single question that's been commented at the time of recording this. So if you've posted a comment after I've recorded this video, apologies. But yeah, I posted it 2 days ago asking for some questions for this Q&A, and I thought this would be a good place to start. So we're just going to roll through all of these. And yeah, I'm excited to get into this because there's some very good questions. I'm starting off with a very interesting one. We are getting in at the deep end. But yeah, the first question is, do you believe our Fitz should be held responsible for what the other Fitz did? And whew, that's a big question. I don't think anything has ever hit me in the way episode 14 of season 5 hit me. And if you've seen my reaction to that, I did not take that very well. Looking back and seeing where they went with it and getting over the initial shock of the devil complex, I really like the episode, and I really like kind of the twist and how much it kind of pushed Fitz as a character and pushed Daisy as a character. But there's no getting away from that initial kind of impact and that shock of Fitz's kind of mental and psychotic split, and what he did to Daisy, and obviously that Fitz that did that is dead, and this other Fitz that he saved and brought back in season 6, he was still going through those kind of mental struggles, but I think because they knew what could have happened, because it did happen with the previous Fitz, they've kind of been able to address that a lot better, and Inescapable focused on that a bit, with Jemma even saying to Fitz, I know you've been seeing the doctor. So I think he's dealt with that in a much healthier way this time around, and I don't even know if they've told him what the other version of Fitz did to Daisy, because then maybe he wouldn't be quite so jealous of the other Fitz if he knew that, but also he'd probably still blame himself and hold himself responsible for that, what happened there. But that's a very interesting question. Do we hold him responsible, this Fitz, for something that he didn't do? Personally, I would say no, because this version of Fitz in this timeline did not do those things. But I don't think we can just wash away what Daisy went through with that. She did not want that to happen to her. Fitz absolutely shouldn't have done that to her. But even with that Fitz, it's not like he's just evil and he did that. If he was in a normal state of mind and he didn't have the brain damage that he suffered at the end of season 1, and then going through the framework really messed him up as well. Going through all of that, spending some time in like confinement when he's trying to find the team again. So he spent all that time on his own, and that allowed the Doctor to kind of grow more inside his mind. They foreshadow what happens in the Devil Complex in Rewind episode 5. Because you see he has some books on like psychotic splits and like multiple personalities, schizophrenia and stuff like that. So he knows he's going through all this, but that doesn't kind of change that, you know, mental illness is a thing that happens, and can you hold people acting under mental illness against them in that sense? I think in this instance you can't, but you can't just be like, well, you know, it's in different Fitz now, so Daisy can just forget about that. She can forgive and forget. I don't think that's true. I think she's perfectly entitled and valid to still have like those feelings and mistrust towards that Fitz, particularly. Even with this Fitz, if she doesn't like fully trust him, I don't think you can blame her for that. So it's a very interesting kind of debate, and I know there are people on both sides of that. You know, there were some people who never got past, I think, the Devil Complex, and will just be like, well, you know, I can never forgive Fitz for that. And I think that's perfectly fair, but taking into account all his mental illness that he went through, the fact that it was like a psychotic split, it wasn't just him of his own accord. You know, he didn't even know it was him doing that, you know, until it was like revealed to us. Maybe he was a bit more aware after he like realised that was still happening, and then he still kind of carried on. But again, he's mentally unwell, but that doesn't erase the fucking horrendous thing that Daisy went through in that episode. So it's a very complicated thing. For me, this fits in this timeline that we have now. I don't think he should be held responsible for what the other Fitz did, but you can't erase what Daisy went through, and if she still has those kind of untoward, untrusting feelings towards this Fitz, and she never fully trust him again, I can get that and I completely understand that. But you know, she spent a year of her life trying to get him back. You know, she was overjoyed to see him again. So I do think Daisy herself has kind of moved forward. I don't know if she's truly forgiven Fitz. I don't think she would ever 100% forgive Fitz for what he did, but clearly she's moving forward, and I think that's a sign that we should maybe move with her. But yeah, very, very interesting question to start off, and that's just my 2 cents, but I can kind of see loads of different sides with that argument. So yeah, thank you for that question. Very, very deep one to start us off with. And then the second one we got was, what would you like to see as the last scene with Fitzsimmons? Personally, I can't decide between seeing them at Shield Academy, because hopefully Dr. Benson's out there rebuilding it, teaching a new generation of students, or relaxing at home with their baby daughter. I would absolutely want their last scene to be them with the baby. Who knows, maybe in this new timeline that things have changed now and they've out of that time loop from season 5, maybe they have a baby boy. I don't know. I hope they would have a girl, but maybe they have one of each. Maybe they have 5 kids. I don't know. I don't care, as long as they are happy and get a happy ending together. I want them to retire from Shield and go to that cottage in Perthshire they talked about in season 3. Even if they're just happily married and settled and okay and together and alive, most importantly alive, that's fine. On top of that, I would love them to kind of have a kid. So yeah, a cottage in Perthshire in Scotland, happily retired from Shield, you know, moving forward, living their best lives, because that's what they deserve after what will almost certainly be 7 full seasons of torment and pain. So that would absolutely be what I'd want for their last scene. Next, would it really be necessary to get closure on that dangling Vijay Nadir plot from season 4? For the life of me, I still can't fathom as to where they were intending to take that story, but I'm also thinking that too much time has passed for a resolution to be worth the effort. Thoughts? Yeah, I think at this point there's no way they may be going back to that. I don't know. There are a few fan theories about season 7 that does tie into that and would bring that to a close, and that would be cool. Personally, I don't necessarily need it at this point. I think it's probably been a bit too long, and it's quite more of a minor character in the grand scheme of like 7 seasons to kind of tie up that loose end, you know, and there's only 13 episodes in this final season. So I don't know, it's an interesting one. I wouldn't be mad if they did, because it's nice to kind of get a bit more and a bit of closure on that. But at the same time, there's been a few characters I think over the years that have kind of just disappeared and been like, okay. You know, Donnie Gill, when they brought him back in season 2, then he got all like frozen and fell to like the bottom of the ocean or something. I was like, well, he's definitely going to come back, you know, he's going to come back with a vengeance. We never saw him again, probably because the actor went into 13 Reasons Why, or whatever that's called. Or maybe they just never intended to bring him back and he just died or whatever, but, you know, they didn't physically like show him dying on screen like that. So I was like, oh, they'll bring him back. They never did. I think there's a few characters like that. Even Joey from season 3, they put a lot of focus on him in like the premiere of that season, and then we saw him again throughout the rest of the season. Then after season 3, episode 21, we never saw him again, and they never really mentioned him or brought him back. So there's a lot of characters like that that are kind of just missing in action and will probably never be brought up again. So for me, I don't think it is necessary to go back through this Nadir plotline. But maybe they will, maybe they'll surprise us, you know, who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, I think it's probably been a bit too much time having passed now for it to even feel like, yeah, you know, in this final season, when they only have 13 episodes and all the stuff they need to wrap up and feel like we should wrap up, you know, I don't know if I'm going to go, well, thank God they spent an episode wrapping up that Nadir thing. So yeah, we'll see. Next, do you think Flint is still going to be around after the season 6 finale, or will that be another Vijay Nadir situation? We know Patton Oswalt is going to make an appearance. Are there any other past characters or plot lines that you think we will see? Are there any that you want to see? I hope we see Flint again, even if it's just like for one episode to round him off again. So I think he's still in the present day, isn't he? He got injured and they took him off. And then obviously we had the whole stuff where they kind of went back to the past and Flint was gone by then. But he could still be like, he could be with Fitz, wherever Fitz is, you know, he could be hanging out with him. But I do hope we see him again, because it seemed almost random that they brought him back in season 6. So if they don't even readdress that in season 7 and they don't bring him back again, or like bring closure to that, I think that would have been a very strange choice to bring him into it. Apart from obviously he just wanted to like assemble the monoliths and stuff for Izel. So I don't know, I hope we see him again. I think we will. Even if it's only for like a cameo or two to probably wrap up his arc, you know. Are there any other past characters or plot lines that you think we'll see, or any you want to see? I don't want to delve too much into like set photos and stuff we've gotten as to where they could be going, but I do hope with the time travel aspect of this season, I think we will revisit a few old characters. They could bring Ward into it somehow. I wouldn't be like, we have to get Ward in this final season. I've moved on from Ward, personally. I like how they brought him back into things with the framework and then left it at that. It was nice the last kind of time we saw Ward, he wasn't properly bad, you know. But if they do revisit some more characters, I love, my top choices would absolutely be get Bobby and Hunter back for another episode. Even if it's just one episode, I'd love to see them again. They're like my #1 pick. But if they're like travelling through time, I'd love to see maybe Daisy bump into Lincoln in the past and maybe she can get some closure and move on from that, maybe. Because obviously she's still not over Lincoln's death, and I think it would be really nice for her character to kind of have that moment where she probably gets to say goodbye to him or something, and provide closure in that sense. I don't know if that's going to tie into what they're going to do with this season, who knows. But that would be cool if we saw him. Obviously Trip as well, I'd love to see. Be great if we got like a Nick Fury cameo or something, but at this point I'm not expecting any like major MCU characters to appear, so I don't really need that. I think S.H.I.E.L.D. has kind of moved away from the MCU ties completely. So yeah, those would be like my main characters I think I'd want to see. In terms of plot lines, also actually Daisy's dad, I'd love to see Cal come back. That could be a plot line they could revisit. Maybe if Daisy leaves S.H.I.E.L.D. at the end of the season. I don't think she will. I think she'll probably become director or quite high up in S.H.I.E.L.D. Or the next incarnation of S.H.I.E.L.D., whatever that would be. But maybe she doesn't, and she just like reunites with her dad at his vet place and like he remembers her or something. That'd be nice. But yeah, maybe more tying up to like the afterlife place with the Inhumans. That'd be nice to see. I don't know, maybe even see Mike Peterson again one last time. It was great when they got him back for the 100th episode. So it kind of started with him in the pilot, obviously, and then it'd be nice if they kind of saw him again one last time in the final season. That'd be great. So yeah, that's kind of what I'd want to see from that. Definitely not anything with like Madame Hydra, Ada, the framework. I think we're done with that now. That was too painful. So yeah. If you could bring back any character in previous seasons, which one or top 3 would you like to see? Bobby, Hunter and Lincoln, I would say, are probably my top 3. Because it was great when we got Hunter back for one episode in season 5, but we haven't seen Bobby since Parting Shot. It'd be really great if we saw her again, because I loved her a lot. So yeah, I think those are probably my top 3 characters to see again, for sure. Favourite Daisy / Sky centred ship, examples Skyward, Static Quake, Deke Daisy and Quake Rider. I actually liked all of those ships with Daisy involved. Skyward I kind of stopped after the whole Ward twist thing. I mean, I think that kind of lingered on to season 2 a bit, but when I realised they weren't going to redeem Ward, I was like, well, Sky and Ward's not happening, so leave that in the bin. So I loved Static Quake for sure. I think they were really sweet and adorable, and it's so sad that Lincoln died, obviously. They'd probably be my favourite out of the ships so far. Quake Rider, I definitely saw the chemistry. Personally myself, I never quite got obsessed with that ship. Deke Daisy, if you've watched my reactions, you know I kind of love it. You know I kind of want it to happen, and I wouldn't be mad if it happened. I just don't know if there's time now. I feel like they needed to do a bit more, maybe making it a bit more of a mutual thing in season 6 if it was going to happen, but that doesn't seem to be the case, and that's perfectly fine. I'm okay if it doesn't happen, but I do kind of really like Deke Daisy, and I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but yeah, that would probably be second to me after Static Quake, so yeah. But yeah, Daisy's been involved in some very good ships, basically. What are your death predictions? Oh heck, I think Mac's gonna die. I think Deke could die. I think LMD Coulson could sacrifice himself. I don't know if... I think I may have said May, but given how they ended season 6 with her like getting stabbed and like near death and everything, I don't think they just do that again one season later. So I think she's safe. I think Daisy and Fitzsimmons are safe. Mainly because we know we're not going to see a lot of Fitz in season 7, so he should be safe, and if they kill Jemma I will sue. That's just my wishful thinking that the bus kids are going to be alright, but I think after everything they've put them through, if they don't give us a happy ending with those guys, that would suck. But yeah, I think Mac, if I had to like name like 3 characters I think might die or could die in season 7, Mac, Deke, and the LMD Coulson. I really hope to God Deke doesn't die, because I love Deke. We know I love Deke. But yeah, I think the ones I'm like, if I had to bet, I would say Mac and LMD Coulson for sure. But maybe it's wishful thinking that I wouldn't put Deke in that group, you know. Favourite subverted trope? Anytime Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has avoided the easy or unexpected story route. For example, Daisy going back to Hive at the end of 321, or May's pleas not working on Sarge in 612, etc. The only one that comes up to mind in the top of my head there is May pleading to Sarge at the end of 612 and him stabbing her. One thing I really did love about season 6 is that Sarge wasn't redeemed, and it wasn't like, oh, he really is truly Coulson after all, and you know, Coulson kind of fought to the surface and he's like, oh yes, I am Coulson after all, and I'm gonna honour this man whose face I have, you know. I'm really glad they didn't go with that, because I think that's a very predictable route for the season to have taken, and you don't want to spend 13 episodes getting to a very predictable point with the Sarge character. So I love that he was kind of not redeemed in the end, and he was this weird alien thing that they just had to destroy. I think the way they got rid of him was a tad underwhelming a bit, but I did like them kind of not doing the classic love always wins, love saves the day. You know, I know you're in there somewhere, you know, you're feeling love, that's love. Love conquers all. And he's like, kebab, May is a kebab. I don't like that because May got hurt, that's not great. But I did like them kind of subverting that expectation, because I think that would have really lessened the impact of the Sarge thing for me. I really liked that he was kind of an irredeemable villain in the end. Because because, you know, he wasn't Coulson at the end of the day. And yeah, I just really like how they kind of changed things up with that. So I think I would have to go for that one. I'd probably think of other examples, but off the top of my head, I think that's a very good example of them doing it. Especially because lately, in a lot of the shows I've watched, they've done the love always wins things, and I know you're still in there, just come back to me, and it always works. That's happened a lot in recent shows. So that one definitely sticks in mind as, oh yeah, that was great. Would you want to see another Fitzsimmons wedding for this Fitz? I'm pretty sure I know your answer, but I want to hear you answer it. And what do you want to see in Season 7? What I want to see in Season 7 is going to be a separate video later on in the countdown, so I'm not going to answer that here. But absolutely, I'd love to see another Fitzsimmons wedding with this Fitz. They are already wearing their wedding rings. In Season 6, after Inescapable, they both had their wedding rings on still. So I think they're probably not going to bother with that. And since we don't think we're going to get a lot of Fitz in Season 7 anyway, I don't know if they're going to have time to do another wedding. Would that take away from how great the wedding in episode 100 was? I don't know, because obviously that Fitz did end up dying. But yeah, if there's chance for it and there's time, I'd love to see another one, because I would never get enough of Fitzsimmons weddings, because that was like the greatest moment of my life. So yeah, for sure, I'd love to see another wedding there. Any Fitzsimmons screen time, I'm here for it. You know, I'd watch Fitzsimmons do their washing, so. Next is, what is your favourite friendship on the show? This is another very good question. I love Mac and Fitz, Mac and Hunter, Fitz and... What ones did I say? I completely short-circuited then. Oh my god, I'm an LMD. Mac and Fitz, for sure. Old Mac and Turbo. Hunter and Fitz. I liked Mac and Hunter when we got a bit of it. Mac and Bobby. I think Daisy and May have had some nice moments. Piper and Davis were always great together. Jemma and Daisy are probably one of my absolute favourites as well. I think that would be my go-to answer, Jemma and Daisy. Fitz and Daisy had some great moments back in the day, prior to the Devil Complex. Yeah, I think I'd go with those, for sure. I loved all those friendships a lot. But if I had to name one, probably Daisy and Jemma. What are your theories for Season 7? Do you think they'll bring back any characters from previous seasons, besides the main cast of course? If so, who? I was also wondering if you're planning on continuing your S.H.I.E.L.D. guides. I know they were originally a way for you to look back before you watched Season 7, so do you think you'll keep doing them after it's over? So theories and stuff for Season 7, again, I'm going to do in like a future video from what I want from Season 7, so I'm not going to quite delve into that. I've talked about characters from previous seasons I'd love to see them bring back. So yeah, my S.H.I.E.L.D. guides, if you don't know what that is, if you're new to the channel, I have been going back to S.H.I.E.L.D. from the start and doing like episode guides, just explaining like what goes down, potential like foreshadowing and analysing different episodes and stuff. I've only done the first 8 at this point, and I started a long time ago, and it was supposed to be something I would do in between Season 6 and 7, but it ended up being the fact that copyright's a bitch, and they kept getting blocked, and the first one that I did was blocked for months. I completely forgotten about it by the time I realised it had been unblocked, and they didn't even tell me that they had unblocked it. So yeah, it takes a lot of work and time to get into them, so I didn't actually do that many in the end that I wanted to in between Season 6 and 7, but I would absolutely be carrying them on for sure. I really love doing them. I'm very proud of them when they turn up, and they always kind of, yeah, I'm always happy with how they turn out. And when I'm finished with them, I do feel a sense of relief, even though it's a lot of work to make them. I really enjoy them, and I get some very good responses from them for the most part as well. So yeah, I'll absolutely keep on making those even after the show's over, because once I started now, I feel like I shouldn't stop. The completionist in me is like, you need to finish this now. And it's a way of keeping up the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. content, you know, long after the show's over, because that's probably going to keep me going for years, let's be honest, trying to get all those episodes done. But yeah, I'll definitely be carrying on with the S.H.I.E.L.D. guides, and please feel free to check them out. They're in the playlist on my channel if you are interested. So yeah, next, least favourite plot lines so far, and if you could change aspects of it, what would you change? I think the addition of Will in the whole Jemma thing, the whole love triangle with Fitzsimmons and Will, so unnecessary for me. I think that's the one time I ever got disappointed in where the writers took a story, because it was just a very cheap way, a very overdone way of keeping Fitzsimmons apart a bit longer when they didn't need to. They had a really interesting story with Jemma's PTSD going, and they could have really explored that, but they disregarded everything she went through to bring in this random love interest that they literally kill off in his very next appearance anyway. It was ultimately pointless. I know there was some behind the scenes with the actor, and that's why they kind of wrote him out a bit earlier, but it shouldn't have even happened in the first place as far as I'm concerned. I think it really lessened the impact. Jemma absolutely could have survived on her own on that planet. I don't like that they had to bring in a man to help her at times. And we just really get much time to know him. So I'm like, why, he locked Jemma in a cage, then she fell in love with him. I was like, I don't know about this. I just felt like they threw away an interesting PTSD storyline for Jemma that could have given her lots of screen time, a very interesting and unique barrier between two people who are in love with each other, and that TV doesn't often do. It would have been really interesting. They throw that away, disregard Gemma's character development for that in exchange for a very, in my opinion, poorly done love triangle. That didn't need to happen. So I would change that. Gemma's just on that planet on her own, she survives. Fitz rescues her, she gets brought back, but she's still really suffering that PTSD and dealing and adjusting back to life back on Earth. And that's why they kind of stay at a distance, and Fitz nothing needs to happen with us for ages, you need to get better first. And I think exploring what Jemma exactly went through and how that emotionally and mentally affected her, considering how much they've explored Fitz's mental state, I do feel like they should have done the same with Simmons, and they just haven't. And that's saying, as a Fitz fan, Fitz is my favourite fictional character of all time, I still feel like some of that exploration could have been done with Jemma. So I would have changed that. And the PTSD and those mental issues that Jemma would have gone through would be a way of keeping them apart for just that bit longer. So yeah, that's what I'd have changed. Speaking of production, what department has done the best job in your opinion? Set, props, costume designers, VFX artists, stunt coordinators, composers, etc. Would you call any of their specific works outstanding? Definitely the VFX, I think, have been incredible. Season 6 looked amazing. Ghost Rider in Season 4 was incredible as well. Everything like the holotables and Ada's kind of things. I think definitely a shout out to them for being awesome and so incredible. And they did some great work on a TV budget, I would say. So definitely them, outstanding. I mean, we've had great costumes and we've had great sets and props and music and stuff like that, but the VFX, to me, I think the shows look gorgeous for such a TV budget, and a budget that's been slashed like season after season as well. They've done an amazing job with that. Did AoS succeed or fail as the first attempt to have a companion TV show which airs simultaneously with its parental franchise? Did it prove that such concept works? Is it an example others should strive for if they decide to replicate Marvel TV experience? I would say it's a success, for sure. Probably maybe more so in the early seasons, because with the whole Marvel secrecy thing, they didn't tell the people working on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. about what was going to happen in Infinity War and Endgame and everything, so they couldn't really tie Season 6 and 7 into that. So they had to do their own thing and just kind of ignore it because they weren't told anything, so they couldn't tie into it. So from that regard, I just don't think the TV shows got as much respect as the movies did, and I think that's a crying shame, especially because now with Disney Plus, the movies are going to give the respect to the TV shows that are on Disney Plus, and I think that's really unfair on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., to be honest, because one of their biggest achievements, like the question asked, was it's the longest running Marvel television series, live action Marvel TV series. 7 years is an incredible run, especially when I personally thought we weren't going to get season 5, more like getting 5, 6 and 7. So yeah, I would say as a companion TV show, especially in the early seasons, I think it was a resounding success, but it has become its own success away from the MCU, and I think that's kind of a big achievement for itself as well. That's my big achievement for that. But yeah, I think the Disney Plus shows are going to tie into movies a lot more, mainly because of the characters they're having focused on in those TV shows. But I think that's just kind of a shame that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't get that kind of respect when it was airing and filming and everything. So yeah, I think it definitely was a success, and I think they could learn a lot from that going forward, as to how to tie into things, but also allow a separate story to be told, because, you know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. often dealt with the aftermath of the films as opposed to like being taken place during them, so it could add like a different layer to those stories. But yeah, the biggest achievement of the show, aside from providing, you know, some of the best episodes of television ever, some of the best character arcs of television ever, it started off as like this Marvel property that was tying into the MCU. That's what was getting it viewers at the start, and it became its own thing with its own small but active fan base, and ended up being able to tell its own story within this like Marvel universe, that didn't need to rely on the MCU tie-ins, and I think that's a big achievement personally. Next, will our lemon child survive this series finale, or will we have to buy all the lemons to make lemonade and serenade and toast our lemon child into the afterlife? So this is of course referring to Deke. Will Deke survive? I hope so. I'm scared, because anyone who falls in love with Daisy normally dies. That's just how it is. But yeah, I'm hopeful that he'll be okay, because if they kill Fitzsimmons' grandson, it's going to destroy them, and I'm not here for that. So I'm hoping he's going to survive and he'll be okay. So hopefully we won't need to serenade and toast to Lemon Child going to the afterlife. Next, do you wish Framework Ward had joined the team at the end of Season 4? I think it was a wasted opportunity to have Ward back. I don't know. I can't remember how I felt at the time. Honestly, I'm happy with that being the end of Ward and the last we see of him. I get there's a lot of like love for Ward, because, you know, Brett Dalton was great. You know, there's nothing against Brett Dalton, but at the end of the day, that Ward was evil and did kind of deserve what he got given to him in Season 3. And yeah, this Ward was a lot better, obviously, in the framework and everything. But I don't know, I feel like they did everything they needed to do with that character. I feel like I didn't need any more from him. So I'm sure they could have done some interesting stuff if they brought him back, but why would any of the people want to see Ward's face there, you know? That's just how I kind of personally saw that. But yeah, Brett Dalton was great, but I think Framework Ward, can stay in the framework for me. What's your favourite Fitzsimmons moment? What do you think is the supreme absolute worst moment or episode of the series? Least favourite character and the supreme absolute best episode or moment? Favourite Fitzsimmons moment? Probably the moments in the pod underwater at the end of Season 1. Obviously their wedding, when they cross the event horizon, is also iconic. Their proposal in Fun and Games. The entirety of Inescapable. I have lots of favourite moments, but those are like my highlights. Supreme absolute worst moment or episode of the series? Oh man, very good question. Probably something like Watch Dogs or Boom. I don't really remember exactly what happened in those episodes. I feel like they were quite fillery and like just, they're alright to me, just like generic kind of action episodes. Can't really remember. Worst moment? Probably the Will thing, in all honesty. I'm sure the actor's a great guy, but it was just a plot twist they didn't need to do, and I think that actually hurt Jemma's character and the arc in the early part of the season. Least favourite character? I don't know. Probably Sinara. I didn't like her. Cassius I loved as a villain. I love to hate him. He's actually low-key one of my favourite villains the show's had. And there's that Chronicom lady and the Chronicom guy, like the main Chronicom guy, not Enoch, the other guy from Season 6. I hated them. They were evil. Probably those guys. Supreme absolute best episode or moment. I'm going to talk about my favourite episodes in another video, so I'll get back to that another time. But best moments, again, Fitzsimmons' wedding. What else? Inescapable again. episode 6 of season 1, that whole kind of event, 'cause that really like, oh god, yeah, I'm gonna love this show. That's like really started it off for me. And yeah, maybe even like the Ward kind of twist and that reveal of him being Hydra. That was the moment where shit got real and shit hit the fan. And he's like, oh, S.H.I.E.L.D. just did that. So yeah. Next is favourite season and episode. Again, I'm doing my favourite episodes in the video, so I'll reveal that then. Favourite season, I would have to say probably season 4. I have a soft spot for season 3 for many reasons, but season 4 I think is probably my favourite. Do you think season 6 deserves all the criticism it got? For me, no. I think it absolutely did not. I loved season 6. I thought it was fantastic. I had a great time with it. But I do understand that it was a bit different to how previous seasons had gone down. So I can understand if it wasn't quite for you. And that's kind of how it is sometimes with TV shows. You know, some plot lines, some story arcs, some whole seasons just don't do it for you in terms of characters or plot or whatever. So I can completely understand if season 6 wasn't your cup of tea. You know, if you like die-hard fans of Coulson, you know, you're going to be really pissed off that Coulson's dead and, you know, Sarge ended up still being evil. And you didn't get a lot of like Coulson and May moments if you're a big Philinda fan in season 6. I can understand that. But for me personally, I still really enjoyed season 6. I thought it had some really inventive ideas. I think it looked amazing. The aesthetics of it all were great. I really liked the overall plot and the arcs. But yeah, that's just of course my opinion. And if you didn't enjoy season 6, I get it, you know. But for me, I really loved it. So yeah, personally, I don't think it deserves the criticism it got. And what's your favourite plot twist so far? In terms of like holy shit moments, probably the Devil Complex and Fitz's psychotic split. Ward being Hydra rocked me to my core. That was insane. Jemma being taken by the monolith at the end of season 2 was also a big deal. Trip dying and Sky becoming Daisy was also insane. I never expected her to like probably be like an Inhuman like that. Anything else? I don't know, it would have been crazy if they didn't do like the whole flash forward in space-time. And actually revealed that someone was going to die. Imagine if they didn't do that and then Lincoln just died like that. Like, oh. But yeah, probably those ones for sure. There's a plot twist. And also I guess Deke being Fitzsimmons' grandson. That might be my favourite actually, just because I love Deke so much and I love the Fitzsimmons family. It provided a lot of kind of fun for me with the show. That's probably my favourite one. But the other ones are also stellar, but also it was kind of like really painful because, oh, I really liked Ward, but he's evil. And oh my god, I can't believe Fitz has done that, this is insane, oh my god, how are they ever going to recover from this? Whereas it was like pure joy with the Deke reveal, so I'll probably go for that one. And then this is the final one. What was your opinion on the Ward reveal in season 1? Do you think they'd set that up properly? Do you think the show would have been better or worse had they not taken Ward's character in that direction? I really like the twist, honestly. I mean, I was gutted at the time, of course, because I really liked Sky and Ward together. And I was like, oh, that's going to be happening, that's going to be really cool. Then we got that twist and like, holy shit. And then when like he drops Fitzsimmons into the ocean, you know, so much of Fitz's troubles came from Ward doing that and dropping them in the ocean in season 1. Then that caused his brain injury. And then when he went through the framework, I think that affected him even more than most because of what happened to him and his brain injury and everything. And that caused his psychotic split and stuff like that. So Ward was responsible for so much of Fitz's pain and trauma, just from that one little action. So I think the show is better having had that big betrayal at the end of season 1. Because I know a lot of people did find Ward quite boring in season 1 for the most part until that reveal. And he was kind of everyone's like least favourite of the agents. I remember liking him well enough though. I actually quite liked Ward until that moment. But I do think the show probably is better off with that big reveal, because a lot of people remember season 1 for that reveal. That was a pivotal moment for the show, being like, yeah, we can go there with our main characters. We can have you love these characters for 17 episodes and then boom, one of them's actually evil. So I actually really liked that. In terms of setting it up properly, I guess they did. They talked a lot about like his family troubles and everything, and that's tied into everything with Garrett in the past. But yeah, is it Garrett or Daggett? Garrett, right? Garrett. John Garrett. You know who I'm talking about. But yeah, I guess if they had like planted seeds properly, it wouldn't have been much of a plot twist, I guess. So I wouldn't have wanted it to be like easy to work out that Ward was actually going to be evil. So I actually think they did do enough in how subtly they did it. It was not like, well, that's just completely ridiculous. Never in a million years would that have happened. I didn't get that, so I think they must have set it up well enough, you know? If it had been like Coulson was revealed to be Hydra, or Fitz was revealed to be Hydra in that episode, I'd been like, no fucking way, that's ridiculous. They've just done that for plot twist's sake. But I could buy that they had set up that reveal for a long time with Ward, so I think that did make sense. And I did really like it in the end, because it ended up really elevating, I think, the final kind of part of season 1. So yeah, I really liked it. I do think the show's better off having gone down that direction with him, because he ended up being a very effective villain for me. I really liked his role as the villain in season 2 in the first half of season 3. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But those are all my questions for this Q&A. Thank you to everyone who sent some in. And yeah, again, you don't have to agree with my answers for sure. But I hope you can understand where I'm coming from with some of those, and let me know some of your answers to those questions in the comments as well, and you know what you love and everything. But yeah, that was just my kind of generic Q&A about the show as a whole, before we kind of go down more specific season 7 base routes for a lot of this countdown. I mean, a lot of these videos are going to focus on season 7. It's going to be like some trailer breakdowns, some episode title breakdowns, stuff like that. There's going to be videos about certain characters, why I like them. And again, we are going to end on a more like generic video about the show as a whole as well. But there are a few different things, exciting things to look forward to for the next 9 days, and I hope you stick around and enjoy them. But yeah, thank you again for everyone who sent in questions for this Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, very, very close. 10 days to go until the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. returns. Very, very exciting. Very, very sad. Very bittersweet. But I'm hyped, and I'm glad we're going down this countdown together. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, thank you to everyone who sent questions. And yeah, until next time, thanks for watching.